Okay, if you've been on social media during the pandemic, no doubt you've noticed it seems like every other day there's a brand new fitness challenge on there.
Oh yeah, whether it's the splits, handstands, or push-ups, you should always prep your body before trying these fitness moves. Jeff and I think, learned that the hard way. We had tried the koala challenge, I believe. Here to show us how to do this and how to prep for it is chiropractor and movement expert Dr. Stephen Gray. All right, hello. The first one we're going to talk about, and this is all over Instagram, is the dancer's pose. Now, if you want to do it, there is a way to do it correctly so you don't get hurt. You are saying we need to be very stable and balanced. So what move should we do to strengthen our stabilization?
Well, first of all, a lot of people think they're just supposed to focus on the flexibility training to do that sort of dancer's pose. But for me, I think a lot of the coolness from the pose comes from that stability and that serenity of that yoga vibe. And so when I'm looking at pelvic stability programming, I always go back to my favorite study, which is the 2009 Princeton Athletic Medicine Department study in pelvic and hip stability. And so the 3 exercises that I'm going to give you that are somewhat familiar, but we just sometimes forget to put them in our exercise routine, are 3 progressions for clams. So the first one, obviously, you're going to set up with a 45-degree angle with your legs. I always say ankles in line with spine. If you're more comfy, you're supporting your head like this. Just get comfortable. And you're going to focus on moving that thigh while maintaining that stable pelvis. So your level 1 is a simple opening up like this. To make it a little bit more difficult for level 2, you're going to be lifting the feet up and maintaining that lift throughout the movement of the thigh. And finally, for level 3, you're going to stretch that bottom leg and focus on just the top leg. You might need that top arm to help support you, but again, focusing on just moving that upper thigh. So adding these to, if you're already doing some glute training or some hip training or some thigh training, it's really going to give you that stability in your pelvis to be able to go into that extreme pose and have that stillness that you're looking for that cool shot.
Okay.
Stephen, you make that look so easy, and we know it's not. We know it's not. All right, let's talk next about another thing that we've seen trending online, and this is something that even the most seasoned of athletes struggle with, the splits. What sort of exercises do we need to do to enable us to do the splits?
So it's funny, I always hear from people, whether they're athletic or whether they're dancers, or they're always like, I always wanted to do the splits. And what I think they're doing is they're just trying to go right for that split. But in my opinion, when I'm training my dancers in the studio, it's about separating that split up into each leg and then combining. And also, it's how long you're holding that stretch for. So first of all, if you're focusing on that front leg, in this sort of position, getting that front leg out, and you want to go until you feel that stretch in the bottom of this front leg. And so what I always say is take that belly button and reach it towards the knee. And that'll move your pelvis into a direction where you're going to feel that tension. And you're going to hold that stretch and you're going to breathe and relax. The other stretch to get that sort of back leg in the split is going to be at front lunge. Knee stacked on top of ankle, keeping that upper body straight up, feeling that stretch in that front leg and that hip flexor area. And with a reach, even if you need to increase that stretch. And then going into the combination of that front leg, easing down into that full split position like so. Now, the other key thing that you need to look at is Dr. Langevin has done a lot of studies with stretching and looking at it on a cellular level. And there's some research that sort of indicates that in order to get sort of that permanency with that stretch, so that way you actually increase your flexibility over time, you need to be maintaining this relaxed stretch for, I would say, usually I advise my students to do at least 2 minutes of relaxed held stretch. So it's a lot longer than people often think when they think of holding a stretch.
Can anyone do it? Because I couldn't do it when I was 12 in dance, and I know I can't do it now. But if you constantly worked on that stretch, could anyone get there?
I think anybody can get there. It's about putting a demand on your body and telling your body, okay, I want you to, on a cellular level, I want you to reconstruct her. And this is something that's going to be important to our movement. So if you're adding something in your daily job where you're doing a reach or you're doing a movement, your body will adapt and grow muscle and increase range of motion and increase that sort of neural function of your brain being able to control your body. as you repeat it day after day, because your body's very efficient. If it thinks it needs to do it, it will adapt. And if you stop doing it, so when I went back to school for chiropractic, I was sitting most of my day as opposed to when I was a professional dancer, dancing all day. And of course, my muscles tightened up because I wasn't using my range of motion. And so my body was very efficient and readapted.
Great tips, Dr. Stephen Gray. Very important tips if you were looking to try it this weekend. But I think our best advice is maybe not this weekend, maybe a few weekends from now. Just keep stretching, work your way. Baby steps to get there.
Yes.
Thank you so much.